All right, so yesterday I watched a video. Yesterday I told you I watched one streamer, right? And their name is Scrappy. They play Trackmania. They're streaming it right now on Twitch, but don't go watch them. Watch me. They play this little racing game called Trackmania, and Virtual is another Trackmania or Trackmaniac, I would say. He's like at 1 million subs. He's 380k views in like 2 days to play, like playing this game. And all right, it's gonna sound like a meme. Why am I talking about this? It's because this video made me cry. And it's a video about a competition, a little racing competition, right? So we're not gonna watch this video. You can go watch it. This is him, and this is the game he plays. So this is Trackmania. This is the little racing game. And at one point, he's playing a competition on this map, like a pretty prestigious competition where 3,000 people compete against each other. And then the top 64 people get into a lobby where they fight out through rounds of elimination to be first, to win the competition. And Virtual gets in the same lobby as his best friend and roommate, Janik. All right, let's listen to what Virtual has to say about being in the same lobby as his best friend and roommate, Janik.
Can't fail. Ooh, Janik, insane! He drove a 38! We're top 2 again! There was nothing I wanted more than to share a Cup of the Day final with my best friend. But to do that, we still had 3 formidable opponents to overcome.
And that kind of touched my little heart. And I was like, this is so cute. He's like making a video, on his main channel with 1 million subs. It's like, there's nothing I wanted more than to play a final with my best friend. And it's so fucking adorable. And then I'm gonna spoil the video. All right, Virtual gets in the finale with his best friend. They do it. They make it. Out of 3,000 people, they're the last 2. They're roommates. They're best friends. They live together. They love each other. And this is how it ends.
Finally on a troll map, and it's together with Janik. Oh my god. It's been half a year, guys. It's been half a year of no wins, and I finally get it. Unbelievable. Wait, guys. Oh my god. Dude! That was so good! That was crazy! I'm fucking shaking, man. Grab a chair. Holy shit!
Aren't they fucking adorable? This made me cry. This made me cry, and it also made me think. Not only, like, this is a masterpiece of a video because it's not only about the competition, but about the story behind it, right? Like the relationship between two best friends who, even at the end hug, even though it's an online competition. And I saw another video the other day that talked about why do guys like sports so much, and I was like, I fucking hate sports. Personally, I despise sports. I find them kind of boring and pointless, and more appealing to like primal instincts than to actual, human development in a way. I'm roasting sports, but that's how I feel. And in that video, all right, I can say it. It was a TikTok. In that video, it's like, why do men like sports so much? And then it was a compilation of stories like, this guy lifted, a bar with weights on it the day after his wife died, and then you see his reaction, and he's crying, he's super happy. You get that in football as well. Scores a touchdown the same day that his brother died in a motorcycle accident, and these things are really, really like touching, right? It's like being able to win or to succeed despite what life throws in your way. But that's the thing, it's not about the sport, it's about the story behind it, right? So this video is like a defense of sports. It wasn't a defense of sports, it was more about storytelling or stories within sports, right? So it's not defensive sports. But here it made me think of that because this video about a racing game made me cry because of their relationship. It's so wholesome. It's so beautiful. It even made Bali cry. I don't know if Bali's gonna like the fact that I told Chad that they cried, but I cried, so it's fine. I can say that other people have cried. That's one of the reasons why I think this video is a masterpiece. It was able to convey a story not of only of a racing game, you know, or a sport, if you want to call it a sport. It's telling the story of two roommates, two friends who, you know, who love each other and who finally get to play a final round of this prestigious competition. It's absolutely beautiful. This is what pure storytelling is, and you get that from a channel of a children's racing game. Yeah, exactly. That the criticism of Sport Magna that you say is very similar to the criticism of nationalism, right? Belonging to a group and rooting for one group over the other. It's, as I said, it's very I don't know if primal is the right word, right? It's appealing to like some very basic elemental parts of ourselves, which I don't believe are the kind of ones that we should strive to appeal to. Yeah, sports are built on myth. I had a teacher, professor in uni, whose whole research was around sports as a myth, as a social construct. It was really interesting, and the man was not a sports fan at all. Didn't do sports, didn't watch sports, but he was still interested in the phenomena of sports, the social phenomena of what sports can represent and what sports do to people. Our anarchist says, despite watching sports because my family gets way too competitive over them, but my little sister really enjoys sports and plays for the national team, so that's a bit of a pickle. That's the interesting thing. National team, I can understand, right? Because a national team, it's about your fellow countrymen. It's still kind of toxic as a feeling, right? I'm rooting for people because they come from the same country as me. What I don't understand is, for example, local teams of, like, let's say the local hockey team or local football team, baseball team, basketball team. You're rooting for people, but all these people not only are strangers, but like you don't even have the excuse of rooting for them because they're from like the same culture or like nation as you. These people come from all over the place, all over the world, and they come under the same like logo, under the same brand, and you're basically just cheering on for a brand and nothing more. You don't even have the excuse that you're cheering for your fellow countrymen or for the culture that you so much love and have so much pride for. You're just there to cheer on for a brand, whether it be the Montreal Canadiens, because that's what I know here. I used to cheer on for them a lot when I was younger. Whether it be the New England Patriots or what else? I don't know, the Blue Jays or the Red Sox. None of these people are actually from the city. Exactly. So like the only thing that they represent is a brand. It's not even a city. It's not a brand that might absorb elements of the city, that might absorb elements of the nation they participate within, but it's nonetheless just a brand. Magna says, I still like watching football though. It's fun to watch a team score a goal because it makes my dopamine level rise, and that's funny. And it's fascinating watching the pros. Yeah, I know. I won't argue against the fact that it gives dopamine. But it's like, to me, it's like, oh, that's such valueless dopamine. It's just like tribal dopamine. It's not even dopamine as in like, oh, I see the story and it makes me like, I see the story and it makes me like it touches me emotionally. It says something about the human experience or whatever. It's just my group better than your group. My group beat your group. My group better, therefore I am better. Yeah, and Mildred Seashells, that's another thing. it's a good thing to point out. Most professional athletes aren't even our social class. I've been calling our national pastime millionaires on ice for a few years now, and it all devolves into support the of the military industrial complex. It's not even as if these hockey players or these sports players are necessarily relatable, right? They're not. They're fucking rich. They maybe they started off in rags, right, and then they became rich. That's less and less of the case, because to become really really good, you need the kind of training, the kind of time. You know, parents need to have the time to bring you to practices and all of that, which parents don't always have, especially if they're on the poorer side. It's like rich people entertaining you. One thing I'm virulently opposed to is how much sports are pushed in schools. Again, from my own experience, I'm not a sports person, so of course I'm going to advocate for that. Maybe someone who can develop and emancipate themselves, or like, you know, achieve their full potential through sports will disagree with me, and please do if you believe that. But the amount of energy and of incentives that we put for children to go into sports is worrying to me. Because in high school and even in elementary school, getting into a sports can be good, right? You get to make friends, you get to have physical activity. It's good. You get to socialize. But if that's the only thing you have, and for many kids, sports is everything, right? A lot of parents have this conception that if their kids practice enough and all that, they'll do the big leagues, blah blah blah, or because the kid loves it so much, the kid just wants to do that. It's that sport and nothing else. But the problem with focusing so much on sports, and it's something that personally I had to deal with in my school. My school was very, very focused on sports, and we didn't really have any focus on art, on drama and theater. We didn't have anything aside from sports. We would do around 1 to 2 hours of sports per day in my high school. And the thing is, a lot of people have developed like a passion for playing hockey, a passion for playing tennis, a passion for I don't know, whatever sports they decide to specify in, right? But the problem with that is, once you're out of high school and your only passion, or the only way that you know how to develop yourself is through sports, you get into college. Maybe some people still do sports, but getting a hockey team in college is going to be harder unless you're in the the higher echelons or the higher tiers of like hockey, I guess, right? And then you find a job. All right, you don't want to play hockey anymore. But your whole identity was built on that sport that you loved so much when you were a kid, right? If you ask someone, what do you like doing, or a kid, many of them will say, oh, I like sports. I like hockey, and they will build their identity on it, and they will be proud of it. And that's good, right? They'll have their jerseys with their names on it. That's a source of pride. But the problem is, when they grow older and they either are not in the physical condition to do sports, or they don't have time, or they just don't have the means to do sports because the club is either of a higher rank or tier, or the club is very casual and they can't necessarily develop their full potential, their full identity through that. Then that person is identityless, I guess. I had friends that like their whole thing was like sports, and now they don't have sports anymore. The only thing that they can identify with or develop themselves through is their job. Magna says, clubs are often more than just a brand. There's often more behind it. Very often, the more behind it is just fuel for the brand. I know you wrote, take FC Barcelona. The club has a legendary club history with Messi, and it's just fascinating. Still love watching a team on legendary level rise. You can't understand it when you didn't invest time absorbing the history. Yeah, I just think the history is part of the brand, right? And the whole history is promoted by the brand itself, because that will make you associate to the brand even more. Take, for example, any company. any brand that will talk about their history, right? They'll use it as a way to not only justify why you should hop on to the brand, but also arguing that this brand has been there for so long and it has such a strong history of performance and of it's noble and all that, and therefore you can invest, maybe not invest monetarily, but invest yourself into this brand, identify with it because it has such a history of success and it keeps being successful. And therefore, by investing in it, you know that you're not investing in something that's not worth it, right? You can love that brand, you can identify with that brand because that brand's not going anywhere. It has such a strong history. In Yak right now, the equipment can be expensive too. When we talk about social classes and how people cannot necessarily always keep up with being sporty. Hockey equipment is really expensive. I know. For example, soccer is not. People call it football, probably in chat. It's not super expensive, but a lot of sports it can become expensive. This is a North America topic. Me from Germany, we only have sports lessons where kids get some exercise so they don't become unhealthy. I think that's how it starts, but yeah, here. Interesting that it's a North American topic. It's even more so in the United States because often grants are given to athletes. I don't know why athletes in particular and why athletes are so privileged for the attainment of grants and school admission, university admissions. Here, I think it's less of a thing. At least in Quebec. I don't know about the rest of Canada, but I know it's a lot of a thing in North America, which is why schools are pushed so much, right? Because it's not only about becoming a great athlete or becoming making a career out of it, but it's also just being able to go to university and being able to pay for it.